All right, so we got a question here from one of my patrons over at Patreon. Nick says, I've been working on a script that generates a huge amount of test data, think like billions of rows. Ignoring the particulars, e.g. types, formatting, what tools are available that would enable me to, quote, randomize fields of this test data? For example, there are ID fields that can't be duplicates, etc. So this is a great question. I personally have never dealt with like data this big before. I've dealt with, I would say, large data, but not like big data, you know, capital B-I-G, big data. So I don't have too much experience here. So that's why hopefully by making this video, I can help you out by putting this out to my community and saying, hey, does anyone in my community have experience with like big data like this? What tools are you aware of? What are you guys using? Because I can tell you how I would solve this problem. Like, when I come to an issue like this, where I think, okay, I need to have random fields with random data in it, I kind of just use UUIDs, like UUID v4 or whatever it is. It's what, a 128-bit integer? I think the chance of a collision is like next to nothing. You'd have to generate like, it's like millions per second for like forever before even the possibility of a single collision happens. Don't quote me on that. I'm sure someone can go look it up, but like a 128-bit integer, which is like what a UUID is, like that's huge. It's gigantic. Our brains can't even fathom how big it is. The chance of a collision is just next to zero. So if I were in this situation and I had to come up with IDs or any sort of test data, I would just be generating UUIDs. I would have UUIDs for all of it. That is how I would solve it. Obviously, if you're talking billions of rows, if you're just dealing with like IDs, of course, you can use like an auto incrementing integer or whatever it is there. Also, you know, like whatever database thing you're working on, it might have some sort of thing to, you know, detect any sort of collisions there or conflicts. But again, when you're in the realm of this amount of data, it's probably costly to check for collisions like that. So yeah, my cheap, super basic, I'm sorry, this is super basic, but my cheap way of dealing with it would totally just be UUIDs, 128-bit integers, just something so large, the chance of a collision is next to nothing. But for people in my audience who've done big data, any sort of like data analytics people out there, like what would you do? What are the tools available? How would you guys solve this? I'm very curious to see. So yeah, hopefully I even if I can't give you a satisfying answer, hopefully someone in my community can. So yeah, thank you.